welcome to the Bar Exam Drills Predictions Podcast. I'm Sando, one of the founders of Bar Exam Drills, and I have my friend Walt Bernard. Is this all your offices here? One in King of Prussia? Is that it?
Yeah.
And one in South Commons?
South Commons is just a street that's in Pittsburgh. So the King of Prussia, that's Philly area.
And you're licensed in 4 jurisdictions, Pennsylvania, Georgia. I saw Georgia was more recent, New York and New Jersey. I put in the notes here with a question mark. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but
we'll talk about it later.
okay, so
Yeah.
not a big deal. Do you want to mention the lawsuit with?
I think it actually would be good to have another podcast. That might be a podcast in of itself.
Yeah, totally.
I think that would be good conversation for about constitutional law and criminal procedure. So I think that discussion and judicial immunity, I think that would be a whole podcast within itself. Yeah.
And I don't know when you're allowed to talk about it too, like when it's like next year or what?
What we're going to do is do another amendment to the complaint, but a lot of it is on the public domain. So I think that I could talk about most of it. 90% of what happened, that's factual. It's on the record. That's not confidential. I think that we could talk about that.
Okay, we'll talk about that a little later. If anybody wants to Google it, see what we're alluding to, they can. But we'll probably do an episode on that later. And then it could also be bar prep, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to say to the viewers that these are just predictions, right? They're totally just predictions. And how I did this spreadsheet was it's 2 kind of data points. It's what they've tested the most going back in time, and then also what they tested most recently. So you have 2 different data points that you have to reconcile. So that one, I have a lot of history there, and I can go back quite a far away. I don't see a butterfly formation.
No. It's so random.
Okay, so we're going backwards until July 2019, and I only have, that's what I'm working on now, putting into the app. This is all the essay drill format here. So as we go downwards, right? Downwards meaning back in time. For each one of these essays, you have an essay outline, which talks about all the issues you need to talk about. So you could use this to self-grade. Since this is the most tested and it's been recently tested, and I noticed that lately it's been a combination of both in one essay. So for question 2, I can see it happening again. It can be either or, a combined thing again. Next would be Civ Pro. They haven't tested for a while, so this would even be higher than Contracts and Torts. Like, I think for sure they're going to do this one. That's been tested in 3 times. I would say Evidence next, and then Ethics. Just because you have this from here to here, it hasn't been tested since February 2022. So it seems like that's more likely to be tested. Evidence. Ethics, I feel like for a state bar, they really like to push ethics on us to make sure we know it. They do it so much in Florida. They do it almost every time in California. I think ethics is very high. And then these ones have only been tested twice, and this was just tested. It's only been tested twice, from July 2019, and it was just tested, so lower. It's actually the least out of these when you're getting into the 2s. So the next would be family law, because they've skipped, and then crimes is looking good too. So I would say most likely not con law and property law. Wills is looking up there too, to be honest, because it hasn't been tested since 2021. Note that the green here is the abbreviated kind of COVID test. There was only 3 questions given, so I like to highlight it in green. Yeah, that's the predictions in this order. Top 4, and then these are the wild cards that you should think about also that could get in there too. They're up there, but they're like medium. Property law and con law, least likely, because they were just tested. They don't have that much of a frequency on the exam.
So I could see contracts really coming up in the next exam.
Would it be better to delve into these topics more, or would it be better to skip to the other predictions and then maybe we could do separate podcasts, like we could do a contracts one and just talk about, I think the way to do it is to do an overview one.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe forget about this for now.
Okay, all right. I think that's a solid prediction.
And disclaimer, we could be totally wrong. wrong. It happens, but it's looking like this is going to be it.
Yeah, that's
I agree. I don't think if you're testing people, you don't want to open up a can of worms for yourself and right for the
Right,
examiners. I think we could do separate episodes later on covering these more in depth.
Yeah.
But I think just to do an overview, good. I guess I just want to say stay tuned for the in depth for all of them. Whatever Walt is willing to go in depth with, we'll do that. Thanks for watching our predictions video. Reach out if you want to opine or comment. Go in the comments and let us know how we got it wrong or we're gonna get it wrong. If it's after the exam, you could let us know how we're totally wrong too.
all right. Thanks, guys.